Welcome to day 3 of our 5-day meditation challenge. My name is Lynn Curry. I'm a McNair director at Central Michigan University. I'm so happy to have you be joining me. Hopefully you caught day 1 and day 2. Today we're on day 3, and we're going to be doing 3 minutes of meditation together, building our practice. And so one of my favorite things is to share this beautiful practice of meditation because I think it has the potential to help us step into greater ease in our life, help us to let go of some of the stress, right? Not that the stress goes away, but to simply let go of it. I think that meditation, and this is, speaking from my own practice and how I see it translating into daily life, is it helps me be more okay with what is, right? So even if things, so we've got 3 kids, balancing, a job and family and all of those challenges. So sometimes it's a little chaotic, and I definitely thrive on more order and peace and when you have kids, sometimes those things are not so frequent. And so for me, my meditation practice really helps me to let go of some of those expectations. And even when things are chaotic and driving me crazy, right? I can still be okay because I feel this greater sense of ease, centeredness, a groundedness that I can tune into, right? So not only tuning into my breath, right? And naturally using my breath as an anchor in those scenarios where it's like I don't know what to do, and I can start to hone in on just maybe doing one thing to help sort of bring order to the situation, right? And then I'm like, okay, I'm okay. And then I might be able to do the next thing, right? And so my meditation practice just helps me notice more, right? Notice when I'm like feeling very tense. Notice when I might be carrying some stress in my body, even if I don't necessarily feel stress, right? I can start to notice maybe some underlying stress that might be caused from, some situation from a long time ago, all those sorts of things. So it's this way of tuning in to ourselves that's what I really love about it. And this is why I feel like meditation just really forms the basis of any sort of well-being, because it helps us be more in tune with ourselves and start to notice what it is that we need in order to flourish, right? Whether it's in school, in life, in your job, all those things, right? With your family, being able to feel good, right? And do the things that you need to do so that you can do the awesome work that we need you to be doing. So that is my little plug. So learning how to meditate is probably one of the most important skills that you can learn. And so that's why I'm so excited that you are tuning in, because it's training your brain. It's a workout, it's exercise for your brain, just like you work out your body. We need to train our brains the same way so that we can relearn how to focus, right? We have so many distractions, so many things pulling at us. We need to be able to do this better, right? And so meditation is the exercise that helps us do that. The thing of it is that it's great if you want to jump on an app when you're feeling especially anxious or especially stressed or you need some help falling asleep. It's another thing entirely to commit to a daily practice. And again, there's many different forms of meditation. This is just simply one form of meditation, right? This is a very specific age-old, old practice that comes from Tibetan Buddhist lineage, that this is the way we do it. Simple focus on felt sense of breath, right? That is going to help train our minds. So that's a different thing all entirely, right? So learning to be able to build a daily habit of exercising our brain, okay, is going to help us with the things that I just mentioned, right? Potentially. I mean, I don't know what it's going to do for you. But I'm excited to find out, and I'm excited for you to approach this with a spirit of experimentation, right? So I don't know, if I sat and focused on my breath and took time for myself and did it for 5 or 10 minutes a day on a pretty consistent basis, I don't know. Let's see. Are you going to feel a little less stressed? Are you going to feel a little more at ease? Are you going to feel a little more grounded? Are you going to feel a little better able to not attach to all the stuff, right? Not that the stuff goes away. I don't know. So, invitation. Before we do our meditation today, one of the things that I want to go over is how do you actually start a daily meditation practice? So we're learning the technique together. How do you start? You start with this, curiosity. Curiosity, I feel, is the kernel. So what I just said, right? I don't know what meditation is going to do for you. I don't know if you even need it. Maybe. But being curious, I wonder what this practice might bring. So that's the first step. And then having that intention, right? It's never about perfection, but just having that sincere intention to explore, right? I am intending to sit in meditation a little bit at a time to see where it might take me. That's it. Very simple. And starting small. You hear this all the time, right? This is not about running the marathon right now. It is about starting small, few minutes a day, and just saying to yourself, I wonder if I could sit in meditation a few minutes a day for the next week, and then reevaluate, right? Don't put a bunch of pressure on yourself right away, right? Start small, step more into it as you go along, and you can slowly build your practice to a level that feels good and that feels feasible for you, right? So don't put big pressure on yourself. Keeping it simple. Keep it simple. And I think I'm pretty well the queen of that because while it's wonderful if you can create like a nice special space in your bedroom or your apartment or your house for your meditation, that's wonderful. But one of the things, at least for me, I never found that could work. And so the only way that meditation could work for me is if I found a way to really work it into my schedule. And I kept it simple. So sometimes it would mean just sitting at my desk and getting a few moments of meditation in before I started work. Sometimes it means doing a few moments of meditation at the coffee shop before I get my coffee. Sometimes it means sitting on a park bench here on our campus green and getting in my few moments of meditation on a daily basis. So doing whatever it takes. And when you keep this idea of like, yeah, I can just simply sit and breathe anywhere. I don't have to make a big deal out of it. It's not, it's like brushing your teeth, right? It's a habit that you do. I can sit and breathe and it's not a big deal, right? So keeping it simple, in my view, is one of the really important things. Connecting with others, sharing the practice, right? So maybe you have a friend who you're like, oh, let's do it together. So even you could definitely sit together, or even if you're like, okay, let's commit to each other to do a little bit of meditation for every day for this next week, and then we'll come together and see how it went, or what we're noticing, or how the practice was. This connection with others, I can't even. Really, the only reason that I was able to step into a more consistent practice was through a friend who happens to be a meditation teacher who helped me actually sit with her on a consistent basis. And I was like, then able to be like, oh, wow, this is huge. And this just has such great potential for, not to sound over the top, but just, it can be a real profound thing. And so when I started to do it on a regular basis, I was like, oh yeah, this really does help. So anyway, connecting with others, so helpful. And then this, right? It's never about perfection. It's never about beating yourself up. We can all fall off, right? It's so easy to fall off. And what do? Fine, beat yourself up for a few moments and then let it go. Meditation is teaching us to let it go, and we can simply come back. It's a new day. New start, fresh start. So we are training our minds to let go of thoughts and come back, fresh start with our breath. It's the same thing, right? So if you skip a few days, who cares? So you can always come back to your practice. And this is one of the things that I like to help my students understand for themselves is once you develop that foundation of what I like to call non-negotiables or key elements, key habits, key practices that you know form your own well-being, even if you slip, even if you fall off for a period of days, weeks, months, it doesn't matter. You have that self-awareness, that self-knowledge to be able to come back. And you can always come back. And just having that faith in yourself of even when you falter, you simply come back. And that's it. So my 2 cents for the day. And let's go ahead and we're going to do 3 minutes of meditation. And so let's come into our posture. I'm going to like to take a sip of water before we practice. And so I think you're getting the hang of it, right? So we come into a nice seated position on the floor, on a chair, and we just let ourselves arrive. This is our time to meditate. Everything else can wait. And we're here. We just let everything else go. We ground into ourselves. We allow our weight to be on our seats. Allow ourselves to feel rooted, present, heavy, and light. Sitting tall, top of the head reaches up a little bit. Shoulders relax, hands rest. Feel the strength of your back body. Beautiful back body keeps us uplifted and strong so that we can afford to be soft in our bellies, in our chest. We open our hearts, our throat. Relax the face. Breath is natural, in and out of the nose. Lips and teeth slightly parted, tongue on the roof of the mouth to keep all of this relaxed. Chin slightly tucked, and then we take our soft gaze with our eyes cast down 4 to 6 feet in front of us. And we just see what we see. We see what we're looking at. We're not trying to stare at anything, but rather just see what we see. We come into our breath, feeling that beautiful cycle of breath that's always with us, our cycle of breath. Over and over, the inhale, followed by the exhale. Inhale, followed by the exhale. Feel your breath. Feel your breath. Feel your breath. Breath is our anchor. Beautiful anchor. In our thoughts, we simply let them fade. Our thoughts are always with us. We'll continue to have thoughts. Right now, we're feeling our breath, and so our thoughts, we pay them no attention. Sometimes if we become absorbed in any of our thoughts, that's when we simply notice and we come back to our breath. We notice that we're thinking, oh, I'm thinking. And we come back to our breath. That is the practice. That is meditation. Noticing when we're thinking, letting go with a sense of crispness, let go and come back. No sense of judgment though. No sense of beating yourself up about the fact that you're thinking. Doesn't matter. We can begin again 1,000 times over. Infinite number of fresh starts. We notice we're thinking, oh, I'm thinking. We come back to ourselves. We come back to our breath. We come back to our anchor. So let's sit together for 3 minutes. We simply let the technique go. And thank you for your practice. Thank you for practicing with me. Thank you for practicing together. It's a very special thing. I don't know if you could hear, there's a siren. There's a siren in the background. And I thought it was great because one of the things in terms of just keeping it simple, right? And again, it's great if you can find a nice, quiet place for your meditation practice. That's wonderful. But the reality is that, things are probably never going to be absolutely quiet, right? Depending on where you live, of course. But, sounds like that, like a siren in the background or music playing, or when we were meditating, a door opened and shut. Um, those things we're never going to be able to control, and there's no need to really try to control them. And so we're learning to let go. We're learning to be okay with what is. And so that's just another opportunity, in my view, to, I've been doing this long enough that it doesn't really faze me anymore. But when I first started teaching meditation and doing videos like this, that I'd be like, oh no, there's a siren. It's disrupting the whole thing, right? And yes, some meditation teachers might try to control, for that and, have a perfect beautiful sound recording studio or whatever. That's really not what I want to offer or who I am. And so, we simply breathe into it, or there might be an irritating person talking. Right? I mean, you know what I'm talking about, right? You're like, and then you're like, want them to stop and like, so you're attaching to that or whatever it might be, or traffic, right? Driving on a busy street. Here we have, mission and, it can be stressful and, you can start like being irritated at everyone around you and attaching to that. Instead, what meditation helps us do is simply be okay with what is, even if there is a lot of traffic, even if there is an irritating person over there doing whatever that's bothering you, you can choose to simply let it go and it doesn't bother you anymore. Look at that. Great, right? Or I mentioned, the chaotic nature of the household in the evening with the kids, right? Stuff everywhere and running around trying to get homework done and bags packed and all that stuff. I can I can easily get upset and start attaching to my irritation and wanting the situation to be different, or I can simply step into myself and my breath and just let go. Because there's no sense of me trying to control all of that. I've tried. Letting go of that and controlling what I can, right? So controlling the way I respond, the way I react. That's the other thing, right? Becoming more self-aware, more in tune. We can make these choices more often. So anyway, not to keep going and talking, but I get so excited about it. And I love that you've joined me for day 3. I also forgot to mention that I would love for you to tag me on Instagram. I'm on Facebook too at Lynn Curry. I'm sure you can easily find me, but I'm mostly on Instagram at Lynn Marie Curry. I love when people tag me if they're meditating, if you're part of this 5-day challenge. Hit me up and let me know how it's going and your experimentation and what you think about it. So I would love to hear from you that way. So feel free to hit me up and I will see you tomorrow, day 4.